Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, two teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. You walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
So weird. Oh my goodness. You got, okay, you know where, good morning, where are my manners? Happy Monday. Okay, you see the show's on behind me. Soon as I hit the Power of We spot, it popped on the screen here, which last week, if you guys remember, with this new platform, who, until they get it together, will remain nameless. Last week, it was showing it to you guys, but I couldn't see it. Today, it popped up there. So same thing with my show opener. No sound. So thank goodness I have it on back there. So I hit the sounds. Okay, it's playing. Plus, I saw my guest in the green room, and she was getting it. She's got rhythm, clearly. Unlike me, who in my family, they call Uncle Carlton. It's not unusual to... Right. I don't know. They're haters. I know I can jam. I don't care what they say. So what if I step on everybody's feet? I do my best, right? Good morning and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren. How was your weekend? What did you do? Were you in the part of the country or those parts of the country that were buried under snow? We had Friday was kind of ugly for us here in Chicago. I'm not kidding you. I was on the road last weekend, and my other half, Dr. Brian, is not one to shovel, although he did his best. I got to give him that. But then the trucks came and pushed all that slush to the end of our driveway, and it was like 4 feet by 8. I'm not kidding. That stuff. I had to get the edger, you guys, and get out there. And I was stupid me. I was hitting the back of the edger like this to get underneath it because big blocks of ice. I feel like I was like, did I get crucified in my sleep? Why is my palm hurting? Promptly called the neighbor boy and gave him $20 to finish because I wasn't doing it. So anyway, that's what we did. We laid around Saturday underneath our blankies and watched movies. We binged and ate cherry cheesecake. That's what, no, wait, strawberry cheesecake. That's what we did. And we had a great time. What did you do? I wanted to, oh, and then last night, yes. Oh my God, the very first look on the screen. If it shows, see, that's enough. Look, it won't go. Oh, I am just, oh, wait. I think I have to take myself out. Really? Oh, I know. Okay, no, 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 no. Let me see. Look at the screen real quick, you guys. Hold on. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Slam the Hammer, a free mastermind, was back in full effect last night. We had 63 people show up. It was absolutely awesome. Our speaker was Justin Charpentier. I am signed with his PR agency, and I wanted, we all talked about our images and our PR for our brands and our businesses. Great time. If you want to take a look at that, I will be posting this morning after we get off the show, the recording from last night's Slam the Hammer. It's a free mastermind for all of you entrepreneurs who wish to nail it. And we will see you again next month, where we'll have a hot seat participant and another guest speaker. Christopher Gandy, the tax wizard, will be there. It is the 18th of February at 7 p.m. More information as we get closer. So, Bella Purpose is here today, always is. It's in full effect. I ring it every time there's some truth on the table because the truth, just like that bell, it has a ring to it. And I don't want you to miss it. I don't. And you're going to get a lot of gold today. I hope you have some bodyguards or one of those armored trucks out in front of your house because this girl is going to drop some nougats today. Notice I didn't say nuggets. See, nougats is that bougie way of saying nuggets. You know, tomato, tomato, nougat, nugget. So she's going to drop some golden nougats on you today. I have the Journal Queen. She's known as far and wide as the Journal Queen. How many journals? How many? Never mind. I was going to say, how many queens does it take to? Never mind. So anyway, she's absolutely gorgeous and she has great hair. Great hair. I'll tell you that. So, and her name, I was on her podcast and it aired this past weekend. We're going to tell you more about that. But put your hands together, snap some fingers, put some hearts on the screen. It's our virtual way of saying welcome today to our guest. Here she comes, Sha Sparks. I hope the countdown clock fires. Well, oh, wait. I don't want that back there now. I just wanted to show them that. Okay, I want that there. It's much more calm. How are you, Miss Miss Sparks?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on your show. I've been a fan for years. So thank you, Lauren, for having
You
me.
have?
Yes.
Aw. Who did your hair? It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Give her a shout out or him.
Well, who colors it is Jess, the hair magic queen. And so shout out to her, Jess Cooper.
Yes.
I cut it and style it myself. So
you do?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
you guys are a great
hairstylist.
tag
Yes.
team. But she killed it with that color, girl.
Yes, she does.
It's beautiful. It looks great on you. So how you been since I saw you last? Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Good. I'm in full force. I've already gone through one conference last week, getting geared up to go through another conference this week. So where I'm speaking at. So yeah, it's great.
Not speaking of speaking, why don't we do this? I'm not big on reading what do you call those things? Resumes or whatever, bios. So I
Mhm.
like to just dip out for a minute and let the guests create their own vibe with the audience. So I'm just gonna, head over here for a second and let you just say what's on your heart, introduce yourself, then I'll come back in and we'll officially get started. Sound okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, all you take it away.
Hi, I am Sha Sparks, an energetic catalyst and fearless communicator. I am the Chief Excitement Officer of Sparks of Fire International, where we spark leaders to find, use, and share their voice through coaching, podcasting, and publications so that they're fired up about their life and business. I am the author of How to Get Your Voice Back and co founder of Firestarter's book project, as well as the host of the Sha Sparks Show that I had the amazing Lauren on just recently. And that's about it. I mean, I do a lot of other things, but we'll get into that as well, I'm sure. So,
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you for that. Okay. Now I saw something earlier. I'm looking. I want to find it. So you just said, shoot, doggone it. And why did I thought you were from Australia because I saw Greater Palm Bay, Melbourne,
oh,
Titusville area on your LinkedIn. I was like, is she right? So
yeah.
listen, you said, man, I want to get it right. Oh, wait. I think in there. Hold on. You say it's like you work with people, like you said, what did you just say? Helping people
I spark leaders to find, use, and share their voice so that so that they're fired up about their life and business through
yeah, a lot of
coaching
stuff
and
I found
publication.
some exactly. But I in a couple places, it was as if I thought I saw something where you mentioned like you reconnect people or you help them rediscover their voice, or it made it sound like, and I was like, wait a minute, she knows they had it.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
it in your stuff. I just can't
Reignite.
remember
Yes.
where.
Reignite their voice. Yes.
Reignite. Okay.
Yes.
So there it is. So you have faith that everybody's already found it at one point or another.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow we strayed away. Talk
Yes.
about that. Thank God.
Yes.
I thought it was a
Yes.
senior moment for a minute. Oh,
No. So you're absolutely correct. We have a voice and then life gets in the way, right? Childhood happens, maybe some trauma happens, maybe you were bullied, maybe addiction happens, abuse, anger, depression, and all of those I have been through
thank you.
and overcome.
Thank
And we make ourselves small and we stop talking, we stop sharing, we get scared because of circumstances that have happened in our past.
you.
Somebody's maybe quieted us.
Yeah.
So we've had a voice. And even if it was like straight out of the womb, I mean, hello, they spank us on the butt and we're screaming, right? Hello, we have
Yeah.
a voice. But at some point in our life, we were taught that our voice doesn't matter or that when we speak up, we get in trouble. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely one of those kids that, got in trouble for speaking too much in school, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
me
we
too.
learned a behavior that was like, no, no, we don't share. So for me, what I was started to do is then I started to walk on eggshells and around the people that meant the most to me, especially my dad. But I didn't know that at the time. What I really did was I was in an abusive relationship. And there was a whole lot that I didn't say. Now there's a whole lot that I did say. I fought back, but
Uh-oh.
there was a whole lot that I didn't say. And I don't necessarily know if I had said it, if it would have mattered. But what I really learned was that when I got out of it and started on my healing journey, what I really learned is I needed to reignite who I am
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because it's not about reinventing yourself. It's about inventing yourself because now we have to go within and peel away the layers of the onion that we all are,
Yeah.
and heal. And then you get to say, okay, now what it is that I want from this point of view. What is it that I want? What do I want to create? How do I want to live the rest of my life?
Can we kind of go back to your origin story?
Yeah.
I have I just can't get past it. I have a feeling it's very interesting. So can you, as much as you're comfortable with, let's put
Yeah.
it that way. Where did you grow up and what was it like? Because a lot of us, I mean, you're an authority because you lived it. You didn't take a course get a course on eBay or some online program to be able to speak to this. You lived it. So
Right.
as much as you're comfortable, would you take us back and kind of tell us how your, wherever childhood, what did you go through?
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town, a farming town in Iowa, so just a neighbor of Chicago, right?
Yes.
And
Bettendorf. Sorry, my
yep,
my
yep, yep, yep. And a very small town. I graduated with 27 people.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and so I grew up on a farm, so it was very cold, number one, very isolating, number two, but I was always a city girl at heart. And at some point, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but I knew that I
Wait a
wanted.
minute, wait a minute. So what does that mean you were a city girl at heart? You had like movie magazines and stuff. One day I'm gonna bust out of this place. You'll
Yeah,
see.
pretty
You
much.
just wait.
Pretty
Huh?
much, pretty much, pretty much. We
Okay,
would
so
go
you were
to.
dreaming to get away.
Yes, always.
Okay.
We would go on shopping trips to Des Moines because that was the closest place where they had malls
To
and
the
and
big
department
city.
stores and stuff.
The big
And
city.
and it was like an hour drive, so that was like an all-day event in our house.
Oh my
It
God.
wasn't a daily thing. It was like a rare occasion. Oh, you have a Christmas program coming up or, that type of thing. It wasn't or
It
school
was like
clothes.
it was like driving into Mount Pilot for Andy Griffith and Aunt B and Opie. We're
Yes.
headed
Yes.
into Mount Pilot. Right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And
Okay.
s and so, I just loved the high-rise buildings, I loved all the highways, I loved all the people, all the different cultures, and for me, it was like, "Oh, I wanna live like this, I wanna be in this environment," and then I would go home and it would be, like, desolate and farmland and cornfields and ugh,
Mm, mm.
and, when we would get snow, we would be snowed in for days because it was on the gravel and in the country, and no one would come down and plow our roads, so it was a lot
It
of
was a lot.
isolation.
Now, did you have
And
siblings?
I had 2 older brother or have 2 older brothers, yes.
Okay, so you're the only girl.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
and so
okay.
they played with each other, they didn't play with me,
Right.
right? And so it was just really depressing, and it wasn't until I was about, I was 11, I think. My oldest brother graduated high school, and we had a kegger, as one does in the Midwest,
Oh,
for
yeah.
graduation,
Get
right?
that beer bong going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So they had a kegger, and while everyone was out partying with him, I, snuck 2 bottles of Boone's Farm wine from the, beer and wine refrigerator
Was it
and
tickle
drank
pink?
them at 11.
What flavor was it? The apple or the tickle
With apple
pink
and
or
strawberry.
that strawberry was good too. Okay,
Well, it
Boone's
tasted like
Farm,
Kool-Aid,
y'all.
right? It just goes down like Kool-Aid.
Girl, go
And,
on.
that was the first time I got drunk, but before that, I
At
had.
11.
Yeah, at 11. But
Wow.
before that, when I was little, my dad would, he was a fertilizer salesman through the week. So he was gone. And then he would come home on the weekends in the field. So at night, in the summer, he would pop open a beer and we'd be sitting around the kitchen table and I would crawl on his lap and take sips of his beer. And so I fell in love with the taste of alcohol as a young child, is what I
Mm,
realize now.
mm.
So here I am, 11, gotten drunk for the first time, and then jump ahead to. Gosh, so that was May, so then it was November, Thanksgiving vacation. I was a cheerleader at the time and, had a little
Oh.
jogging trampoline in the living room, and we were practicing my best friend and I were practicing cheerleading jumps, and when I landed, my knees locked, and it broke the point off of my tibia, and you talk about excruciating pain, you couldn't even put the slightest pressure on your big toe. It
Oh.
hurt so bad, and that is when real depression took over and suicidal thoughts and wanting to die, and
What?
oh, it was bad. It was so bad. The pain was intolerable. Now, back then, they only had 1 pain medication, and that made me vomit because it just hurt my stomach so bad,
And what
and
was
then
that pain medication?
honey, I don't know. It was,
Okay, but pretty
like a
strong
couple
like a
decades ago,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
and,
okay.
I don't even know if they still make it,
Probably
but anyway,
codeine, morphine, or something.
I don't know.
One of those
So
enes.
yeah, and we tried to do it with food, and it didn't matter, like, I couldn't keep food down.
Oh,
So
no.
my mom just said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, just stop taking it." And so, the pain was so overwhelming, and the suicide, I just wanted to die, like, just kill me. And then, because I was in so much pain and vomiting a lot, I didn't go to school. So here
Oh.
winter in the middle of Iowa,
Yeah.
not social. I'm an extrovert in case you couldn't tell. So I was,
Yeah.
and you're seventh grade, you're very social, middle school age, right? And I couldn't be around my friends. And it was just very overwhelmingly depressing and sad. Like I didn't, again, afterwards, I realized how sad I was. I cried all the time. My brother, I had a brother still in school, so he went around to all my teachers and got my homework. And I finished my homework in like a few weeks and was done. So it was just depressing, but that the suicidal thoughts was like really overwhelming.
So
And I
did that
feel,
lead to something down the road, or?
yeah, so I feel like on a spiritual side, I feel like that's when the devil really crept in and got
Mm.
into my psyche and was like, you don't have to live in this pain. And it wasn't just physical pain at this point, it was now emotional pain, right? And so that was 12, right? Now I'm
Oh.
now 12. So at 14, I was smoking cigarettes, a pack a day. At
What?
15, yeah, at 15, I was drinking daily, daily. Yeah.
And still going to school and being
Still
a
going to
kid?
school, still getting A's and B's. Yep.
Were you hanging out in
And
the school parking lot? I mean, I'm saying because we had back in my day, we had kids that did that. They were out in the parking lot. We called them gritters because they'd be out there and we'd be looking at those gritters over there, smoke coming out the windows and
oh yeah.
stuff like that. So did you consider yourself rebellious?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. But again, small town, only 27 people in my class.
That's
So you
true. Yeah,
figure
yeah.
the one building, kindergarten through 12th grade. I didn't go out for breaks and smoke. No. On occasion, I would smoke in the girls' locker room at the gym, but that was,
Did
on a
your
rare
parents know
occasion.
you were smoking and drinking?
They knew I was drinking. My mom, I think I finally told my mom I was smoking about 15. And my dad, when he found out, he was not happy. He's like, I think I was 16 when I found out I was smoking. He said, I'm going to take away the car. And at that point, I was like, right, like you're going to try to parent me now. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Um,
there's another shade of the paint strip.
oh, yeah. Oh,
Uh-huh,
yeah.
okay. So then when did you finally escape the little town and head for or did you and head for the big city? Bright
Y-
lights.
Yeah, so I went to college, graduated with honors, believe it or not. Before I was a
Good.
senior, or right before I was a senior in high school, my dad left my mom. He told me I had to tell her, and the whole drama
Tell your
ensued.
mom I'm going to the store for some milk and I won't be back.
Pretty much, he dropped her off at a conference for women and came back and said, "I'm leaving." And I'm like, "Where are you going? Are you going to the store? Like, what are you going?" Because he's supposed to watch me. I'm 16, and I had already gotten a DUI at this point at 16, so I didn't have a driver's license. Uh-huh. And so he's like, "No, I'm leaving your mom." And I'm like, "What? Why?" And I'm crying, and we're talking and trying to talk. Of course, I'm barely speaking because I'm crying and I'm so choked up. But
Sure.
talk about getting your voice back, I couldn't speak. And I'm in shock. Again, didn't realize that until way later that I was in shock. And he said, "I'm leaving your mom because she's just gained too much weight." And he said, "And when you lose 50 pounds, you'll meet a good husband."
Okay, if my mouth could get even wider, it would, but
I
I'm
know.
at the max.
Yeah. And
Was he always so nice and full of compliments like that?
yes, always. It was never, "What did you do right?" Like we were in sports. It was never, good game, good try, whatever. It was, "How could you, miss that shot, or how could you not win, or, whatever." If he showed up, if he was there to watch. Yeah.
So he leaves. How'd your
So
mom get
he
home?
So my mom's friend drove her home because, and this is before cell phones, so I
Yeah.
couldn't call her, couldn't tell her.
Yeah.
So, I'm left to my devices all weekend. So of course I spent a drunken weekend. Um, and then she gets home, and as soon as she gets home, someone else shows up and they're talking, which is my dad's best friend, and they're talking, and I am like, "Why should we could leave?" So I could tell her. And
Right.
then finally he says, "You're taking this awfully well." And he goes, "What?" She goes, "What are you talking about?" And so then she calls me into the kitchen and is like, "What's going on? Where's your dad?" And I said, "Well, he left." And I had left, showed her the note that he left for her with his wedding ring paperclip to it.
Oh, ew, no.
And she fell apart. It was the first time I had ever seen my mom show emotion. She was very stoic and cold for most of my childhood. So that was the first time I saw that she cared,
Had feelings.
had feelings.
Oh,
And so then I kicked into caregiver mode. And so then I straightened out, quote unquote, straightened out enough that senior year. I got straight A's. And I went and got scholarships, and I went to college for computer science, and I hated it. And so I quit. And so when my dad left, by the way, he says, I'm going to pay you child support as long as you work and you go to school. And if you quit either one, you're not getting paid. Now, mind you, I'm 16. What do I know? I'm not the adult going to court,
right.
right? And fighting for this, which my mom should have done, and she did not. So she should have gotten paid, not me.
Right.
And instead, that's how the agreement was.
So he
And
never came home.
no, we had to find a private investigator to have him served divorce papers for my mom.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so we found him in Kansas City. And so after I quit college, he said, "You are more than welcome to move here. There's
After
schools."
you quit college.
Yeah. So I went for a semester
Oh,
and a half and I quit. I was like, nope, I can't do this. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to sit in front of a computer all day. And so I was 18 and moved out with so when I quit, he said, "You're more than welcome to move here to Kansas City. There's schools and jobs and opportunities." And I said, "No, thank you." And moved out with my girlfriends and lived off my savings and partied even more. And, did some questionable things with some questionable people. And then finally, my mom said, "I think you're depressed and I think you need to go live with your dad." And I didn't realize again at the time until years later that I needed her permission, that she was going to be okay so I could leave.
so that she didn't feel like you were
Ab-
betraying her to
and
go
abandoning her, because
and
that's what he did.
abandoning.
He abandoned her,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want to abandon her.
Yeah.
And so then I talked to him and he's like, "Yep, come on down." So the day after my 19th birthday, I packed up and moved to Kansas City. So now here I am, finally in the big city.
Okay. So at what point of your journey did you begin the transformation into the gal we see before us? How did that happen?
Many years later, so I moved to Kansas City. My dad said, "You have a week to decide what you're gonna do. You either go to school or get a job, and if you don't, you're going back." And I was like, "Well, I can't go back there because if I go back there, I'm gonna be a single mom in jail or dead. No thanks." So I went to cosmetology school
Oh.
and worked my way through that and into amazing corporate salons. One that was based out of Chicago, Mario Chikoshi
Oh, yeah,
salon.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember you telling me
yeah.
that.
And became the educator and all of that. And the best thing was, or not best thing, but the interesting thing was during this point, I also fell in love with the love of my life, or so I thought. And he turned out to be abusive, verbally, financially, physically, mentally, uh, professionally, all the E's. And I fought back. So I had two older brothers that would, take turns beating me up. So I fought back. I kind of could hold my own. And I think that just fueled his fire even more.
I like it. Right.
And yeah, and I didn't get the dynamic of what was going on, what was happening, all of that until way later. So we were together for 12 years. And at some point, I got a voicemail on an answering machine. That's how long ago it was.
Mhm.
From a woman that said, "I don't know why you're with him. He is married to me with 2 children."
Oh, a bigamist.
And I was
No,
like,
what's that called? Polygamist.
"Polygamist?" Yeah. And I said, "What?
Well,
Like
you
he's
weren't
living with
married, were
me."
you? You weren't married to him.
No, we were living together.
You just living together. Okay, but he was married to someone else. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so so we broke up. He tracked me down at work, begged me to come back, tears, all the things, constantly. It was always this, "I love you, I hate you, come get me." I leave, he's coming to get me, all the things. It was a constant drama. So, and then there's this other dynamic to it with her and the kids and all the things. And you're going to be the best stepmom. And oh my God, the kids are going to love you. And let me weasel my
Oh my
way
goodness.
anything that can help. And so finally, I've been praying, like, okay, I'd been praying for him for many years. And then at one point, my prayers shifted. And during this prayers, it was journaling. I was journaling my prayers out. And at some point, I just heard, pray for you.
Okay, wait. So at what point did the spiritual side kick in?
So,
You know what I mean? Because I've
yeah,
seen this wild girl up to now, but now she knows how to bow her head in prayer. So when did that come in and become a part? Because that leads us to our spiritualism of today.
birth. So I was
So
always
you
in the
always
church
had.
every Sunday, even the hungover Sundays. I was in church every Sunday. And at between the ages of 7 and 10, I was in Sunday school in the back row, of course, because that's where the troublemakers sit, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we were learning
Troublemakers, cool
Jesus.
kids, take your pick.
Right,
Anyway,
right,
go
or the
ahead.
cool kids, whatever, yeah. And, that's where we were learning the Easter story, and, all of a sudden, it felt like this voice sat next to me and whispered in my ear, my right ear, and said, "Did you hear that? The religious people killed Jesus, so be like Jesus and love everyone."
Ooh. Now, what I love about this piece right here, which is why I backed the car up, is because a lot of people, you rarely hear about someone's spiritual, if you will, experience inside the story of I was out there doing some of everything.
Yeah,
It usually is I found Jesus later,
no,
but you're
mine
telling
is
us
not like
that
the movies whatsoever.
you had it all along,
Yeah,
even when you were okay, okay,
yeah.
got it, got it, got it, got it.
So,
Okay, keep going.
when I'm uh 12 and contemplating suicide, there were a lot of talks to God of ending the pain, end my life, take me, I don't want this, a lot of those. And then at six, and then the drinking daily, I would be sitting in the mirror putting on my makeup, drinking before I go to school.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like I heard from the devil. And I heard, okay, you continue to drink. You don't need to be living. You can end it all. Just keep drinking. And then at 16, when I got a DUI the next morning, and believe me, there were many times I prayed to get home. So let me back that up, right? But this
Uh-huh.
particular night, I hadn't, in my opinion, I hadn't really been that drunk. So I got home and got a D or didn't get home. I got a DUI. My dad had to come pick me up at the police station, all the things. And the next morning, I wake up from the DUI and I'm like, the conversation was, okay, God, I get it. I understand what being humble means. I have to be humiliated first. Got it. I am extremely humiliated. I have messed this life up so far. It is yours. You do with it what you want. Now, in the movies, it's like boom, and now all of a sudden everything is technicolor. Right. Ah! Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't work like that.
Not in real life,
So it
usually.
was so that was 16. So it wasn't until I was 34
Mm.
when my ex was in a car accident, but we were together at the time. He was in a car accident, and that's how I was able to get away. And I started, a friend of mine had given me a name of a Christian counselor 2 years before that. And I had kept his name and number in my wallet because I knew at some point I would need it. And within the first week, I was going to this Christian counselor. And I had been breaking up with him for so many years that I was like, no, I knew I was done. It was just, I was waiting for him to kill me, is
Oh my
really what it was.
goodness.
So I got to that point where now here I am. He is in the hospital in a coma with a brain injury. And I'm going to Christian counseling going, how can I get out of this? How can I move forward? And the one question I asked myself was, what is it that I don't know that I need to know in order to move forward? Because there was a whole lot of stuff I knew, but I needed to figure this out. Why was I with the person I was with? And I had, like I said, I'd already been journaling for many years up until that point. And so that was where most of my journal entries then became, was those two things. Like,
Okay, let's go there
yeah,
because journaling, I'll tell you what I love about it. I am not in any means, in any way considered an avid journalist, even though I have a bunch of them because
yeah,
people always give them to you, get them at
right.
events and stuff. and I'll start to write in certain ones, and I think, and you forget about it. But then you stumble across them, even if it's a couple pages inside of one, and you go back and you hear yourself speaking out
Yes.
loud.
Yes.
It's like, especially when I was homeless and stuff, I
Mhm.
journaled. I was in the shelters and all that. I journaled every day. And now when I read those and I go back and I see that I was literally manifesting and it
Mm.
worked and it
Yes.
happened, I
Yes.
because you forget that
Yes.
you actually manifested things. And you go
Yes.
back and go, "Oh my God, was that me?" Talk about that as
Yes.
far as your journaling, because I'm telling you, I've sat and just been frozen
Yeah.
reading my own words and looking at the beautiful distance between those words and my reality, and
Mm.
I'm just amazed.
Right. Right.
Just amazed. Talk about that.
So 3 years before he was in a car accident, I was reading this magazine, and in the magazine was a tiny blurb of an article, literally like 2 paragraphs, and
Mm,
it said, "The 2 most powerful words in the English language is I am." So when you are looking at your goals,
yeah.
instead of writing, "I want to be blank," or "I will blank,"
Mhm.
or resolutions like, New Year's resolutions don't
Oh,
really work, right?
right.
Write down the goals as if it's already happened. So say, "I am this weight," rather than "I want to lose 10 pounds." Already
Oh,
say, "I
okay.
am this weight. I am a homeowner. I am debt free." All of these things, right? Just write them down. And so I started to journal what I call my I am statements before I was in the healing process, right? And I just started to think, okay, what if I get out of this? What on the other side of this relationship would I like my life to look like?
Mm,
And I started to write those down. So I'm a successful investor, real estate investor, inventor, homeowner, entrepreneur, online success, published author, all these things, right? Blah, 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 blah. And I would journal it down and repeat it over and over and over again, as if that's the troublemaker in me, as if I had to write it on the board 100 times. I will not
oh,
do
yeah, yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
a teacher, right?
Mhm.
Right. And so what it does, I found out many years later from the dean of psychology at a local university. I was working with her on mindfulness. What it does is really get it ingrained in your
Yeah.
brain,
Just like
right?
spelling words. Remember they used
Absolutely.
to make you write your spelling words over and over and
Yes.
over and over?
Yes.
Mhm, mhm.
It's the repetition, right?
Yeah,
That's why repetition works. It gets
yeah,
ingrained.
yeah.
So as I was doing this, I started to notice just certain things would change. Like one would be my thoughts. One would be where now it wasn't like, oh, one day he's going to kill me. It would be like, no, one day I'm going to be on the other side of this.
Mm.
It gave me aspirational hope, which I didn't know. Yeah, ring that bell because
Yeah, thank
aspirational
you.
hope, when you are in a desperation, hopelessness, you don't know that you need helplessness, but you need that aspirational hope to at least look at something and go, well, what would it be like to be that, to get over to there?
You're absolutely right. And is when you say what you say it again. What kind of hope?
Aspirational hope.
Aspirational hope. That's that when you feel like I don't even have a breath left.
Right.
It's too hard to even breathe. But I'm gonna tell you what I love about that. When you said that phrase, that term, um, the first thing that popped in my mind was low-hanging fruit.
Mm,
See, because I remember, that's what we create with our divine gifts is we create low-hanging fruit because when a person is flat on their backs, this
yes.
fruit meets them where they're at. They may not think they even have a breath left, but all of a sudden, what is that aroma? You smell
Mm,
that? It smells like Concord grapes. It smells like they're right there in front of me. Like if I just stuck my tongue out, I could taste one. And you can.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's an important piece of the healing process. Low hanging fruit. So you were down flat, nothing
Mhm.
left in the tank. What was the low hanging fruit for you? The thing that made you go, y'all smell that? What? And then all of a sudden, you're on your way back. That reigniting that you were speaking of. Do you remember that precise moment?
Yes. So I'm literally on the phone with my boyfriend at the time, and I'm telling him I can't do this,
So you're breaking up.
and I can't be in this relationship. Like I can't
Okay.
do this. I can't
Breaking
be in
up.
this relationship.
Dear John.
Yeah, like you're killing me. And he goes into the, what am I going to do without you? I'm never going to eat again. I'm going to kill myself, all the things to manipulate me back. And as I'm sitting on the couch in my own place, so we live separately at this point for
Mhm.
many, many, many years. And I'm sitting on my couch, and all of a sudden, here comes that voice in the right ear again that says, "Not now, not now." And I thought at the time it was like, oh, that's my fear showing up saying not now because I don't want to be alone, like whatever it was. And then, so that was trying to think what year that was. And then 2 years later, 2 years later, so that was always in the back of my head, like, not now. 2 years later, I had a dream 3 nights in a row,
Mm.
and it woke me up at the same time, 3 nights in a
Ooh.
row. And by the
Ooh.
third time,
That's powerful.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
And the dream was that I was to own an office building, have a salon on the first floor, have a software company on the second floor, and start a foundation on the third floor.
Oh.
And I thought, okay, and so here what my journaling. Okay, God, like I'm sorry that the devil crept in and this is what he's given me. My ego's taking over. Like there's no way I can do this. Like this is ridiculous. Like that's just crazy. There's nothing. I mean, what I mean, why me? Why would you think I could do this? Wait, do you want me to do this? Is this what you have for me? Is this something that might be possible? Is this from you?
Mhm.
So it's shifted, right? It
Yeah.
went from me questioning it like, this is crazy, to me going, well, wait a minute. If this is what you have for me, do I trust this dream, right? And then it goes into, do I trust God, right? For
Yes.
me to go. And then it was, well, I mean, okay, I guess I accept. And then it was, okay, I accept this on two conditions. And I know most people don't give God conditions, but, I'm
Oh, sure we
being
do.
real, right? Being
Yeah,
real.
we do. We do.
So I'm just like, well, no, here's the thing. Here's what I need. I've been trying to break up with him for years. So you take care of it. You handle it. I don't know what to do. You
Right.
told me not now, but I don't win. And I don't know what to do with this. And then the other thing I said is, this is even crazier. If you expect me to stand in front of a bunch of people and talk, then you need to change the way this vessel that carries me around looks like so that I'm comfortable enough to stand in front of a bunch of people and talk.
Oh.
I had felt in my low self worth years, and because of what my dad implanted in me,
Yeah, yeah.
is that I was this ugly, ungodly, obese, horrible looking woman. And then, the ex added his own twist to it, of course. And so it was just this, I had to unravel that voice. So the voice
The
is a lot of
dictator.
times that inner voice, right? And it's negative because of somebody else's voice installed it.
Mhm, mhm.
And um, so that was in 2008, November 2008. So of course, here you are. You're supposed to buy a building and have all these things, and then boom, the market crashes.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, clearly that was a lie. That's not the case. But it gave me that aspirational hope to go, well, maybe. And then it got to where I couldn't stop thinking about it all the time. It was like I got up in the morning, that's what I was thinking about. I'd go to bed at night, that's what I was thinking about. I'd wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. Like, how could I make this happen? And it was always, how could I make this
Mm.
rather than trusting the
Mm.
process of God was going to
Mhm,
show it up,
mhm.
bring it
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
And about so that was in November. So then in May of 2009, he was in the car accident. And I remember in February of that year, February of 2009, I remember being like on my knees going, God, seriously, if not now, when? If you said not now, when? Because I literally don't know how much longer I can take. Like,
So,
just kill me. I don't.
did you ever get that building?
No. So I am the one building.
You say again?
I am the one building. So I don't own the building. I am the building.
You are the building.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Okay. So,
So
okay.
I built so anyway, I got out of that relationship. Was able to he was in a coma, and then
Mm,
he got he was in ICU, got, worked down his way from down to the next level of the hospital, down to a long-term care facility, to a nursing home, and this took several months. But basically, I had to break up with his sister, and I told her all the horrible things he did to me, and I said, "Look, I've been trying to break up with him for years. He is yours." And they tried to make me responsible for him, and I'm like, "Absolutely not, no."
you're just gonna leave him now when he needs you the most?
And I said, "Honestly, I've been trying to leave him for years. I've been
Right.
trying to, and you know that he's been married to someone else, and you didn't tell me.
Oh,
Yeah, you knew he had another child, and you didn't tell me.
right.
Like, let's bring this back around." And then I said, "And I know that he was abused as a child by your mom." And she goes, "Well, he's a compulsive liar." And I go, "He's not the one who told me. Your aunt and uncle told me." And then she started to cry, and she said, "Oh my God, I hope he doesn't blame me for not protecting him," because she was the older
Oh,
sister.
she was older. Mhm.
And so, the truth comes out. At first we try to hide it, right? We try to keep it secret. And then when the truth comes out, literally it takes over. And you're like, oh, yeah,
Right,
that part.
right. When
So,
I'm sorry, Shay, when did you start working with other people on the journal thing? How, I mean, because you hear about vision boards and this, that, and the other, but I've never met anyone who said, look, I'm telling you, there is magic inside these pages known as journaling. Um, tell people why they might want to dust off some of those empty journals they've collected or go back and
yeah.
reignite the spirit of journaling within their life. Why do you feel that's so important for us?
Well, for my own journey, like, so here I am now, basically having to break up with a man without having the conversation, right? So there was a lot of closure that I needed to have. So I wrote him letters. I wrote it out, what I needed to say to him, all the things I needed to say to him. And I wrote, I forgive you.
Mm,
And that in itself is one of the major key pieces that most people don't talk about, is forgiveness.
yeah.
And you can write forgiveness letters and never send them. That's the best part about it, right? You can write whatever it is you want to say to that person, and you never have to send it. You can rip it up, you can light it on fire, you can bury it, whatever you want to do. But that in itself is a release. That in itself is therapy. So about 6 months into my journey, I started to meet these women who were in abusive relationships, but they weren't saying that word. They were just sharing with me some of the toxic traits that their significant other was doing. And I'm like, well, that what I've learned from these two books and the counseling that I've gone to, Boundaries is one book. The other book is Women Who Love Too Much, which should be called People Who Love Too Hard, because it applies to both sexes. And it's really about, it's familiar. So for me, the journaling part was, well, look back in your past, in your childhood, and find the pattern of when that behavior that you're in now was familiar, and write it out. And then at some point, you'll be away from this. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be several years. And you'll read that and you'll be like, what? That's what I was experiencing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That's insane. That was so like, so, and when you're in the shit, in the drama, sorry if I can't say that, you're
Yeah, you
in it,
can.
right? And you have no idea that there's a whole world out there. So now when you get to be on the other side and you're like, oh my God, I forgot how much I've healed. And when you look at back and go, how much have I grown? How much have I healed? How much did I grow through, not just go through? You go,
Yeah,
wow,
big piece, big
I
piece.
can do hard things, and I
You
can
know,
do hard things again.
let me ask you this. Um, Also in your journals, you hear that voice of hope where you write things down. I am going, like the I am going to, I will,
Yeah.
I shall, da, da, da. And I know for me personally speaking, I was shocked sometimes at my own strength back in those dark times when I reread what I wrote. So talk about the process. Do you currently journal?
Oh, yeah. So back 3 years before, right? And I'm aspirational hope of what I would like on the outside of that relationship. I wrote down I am statements, and then I took them a step further and I wrote it on like not postcards, note cards, and taped it to my office wall of all the things, all of my I am statements. There was probably, I don't know, 30, 40. And then I forgot about it, right? And it wasn't until years later I went back and I'm looking at them and all of my professional ones, and I'm like, oh my God, I can literally check off each one that I am now those things. So basically, what you're doing is hypnotizing yourself and installing those affirmations into your own unconscious when you're writing it repetitively like that.
Big piece. Do you work with people on how to effectively do this, and how important is it that we're at least some semblance of being consistent with it, so that it is that it is healing? So is there anything that you would feel like is a big speed bump for some people getting it out?
Mm.
What are some of the common pushbacks? I can't do this, and that you just need to work through.
Yeah, well, a lot of people go, "Well, I'm not a writer." It's like, "Well, it doesn't need to make sense." Or, there and I will say that there is something that is profound that happens, again, through good old pen and paper or crayon, marker, pencil, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
rather than a electronic device, right? It literally
Yes,
comes from a neural pathway from your brain down to your arm, down to your hand, onto the paper.
absolutely right.
And so it's just a practice. So you go, "Well, I don't know what I'm gonna say." Got it. That's the thing that most people go, they think they have to know what they're going to say when they start writing, and you don't. The thing you write is capture your thoughts. So my
Mm,
first journal said, "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to write. This is stupid. I can't believe I'm doing this again. Here I am after school. I hated this, blah, 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 blah." And in that first writing, an hour later, I uncovered that I used to have panic attacks in 6th grade. I'm like, wow,
mm.
I didn't even know. I didn't see that.
Right,
But what it
right.
is starting with capturing your thoughts. Whatever voice you're hearing in your head, write it down, because most people are on autopilot and don't even know that they have a voice in their head.
That's
So
right.
how can they know if it's negative or positive? Is it empowering them, or is it disempowering them? Is it
Right.
helping them or
All right.
hurting them?
Right.
And mine was hurting me.
Mm. So let's I want people to know, to talk about your podcast. I was on your show, and there it is down at the bottom right now, scrolling along.
Yes.
For those of you who would like to go in here, I think you said this our episode together came out this weekend.
Yes, it
So
did. Yep,
talk
came out.
about your podcast. How long have you had it? Where can people find it?
Yes, it's on all the things, all the platforms, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all Google,
Okay.
whatever else is out there, all the things.
The Shay
It's the
Sparks
Sha
Show.
Sparks Show. I've
Okay.
had it for 5 years. It used to be called The Power of Investing in People, and it's over 200 episodes, and I interview amazing leaders like Lauren,
Yeah.
military and business leaders who share what it means to them about investing in relationships, self-love, leadership, and most importantly, people.
Okay. Robert Brooker says once you write something down, it removes the emotional power it had over you. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. So where is the best place you would like people to go if they'd like to work with you in
Yeah,
any form or shape?
yeah, absolutely. You can go to my website at shasparks.com. There
Okay.
is, I believe there's a link to connect with me, have a
Yep.
connection call. And then also you can go to any social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, the Sha Sparks or Sha Sparks, and send me a message. I'd be more than happy to just reach out and talk during texting as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Connect with me and love to meet new people, especially anyone who's a friend of Lauren's is always a friend of
Aw.
mine.
You're sweet. I really honor you, and I thank you for
Mm, thank you.
bringing out something that might be missed by a lot of people, that there is healing in writing. Brain dump, get it out.
Yes.
Get your story out and look at the words. Do they, one of the things that I always do when I write things down or I'm hearing that voice that we talked about, I keep a little 5x7 card and on the top it says healthy, line, unhealthy. And
Oh,
when
yeah.
you want to test whether something is the right thing or the wrong thing for you, look at it, read it, and then look at those two words. Your eyes are going to take you, excuse me, to either the healthy or
Yes.
the unhealthy. It's going to take you to the truth.
Yeah.
So, and in conclusion, you guys, I want to say this. Shay was speaking about how she didn't understand before, back in the early days, about, she questioned, is this you, this and the other? Listen, that's a big piece, you guys. I remember for decades I was afraid of the question mark. I was like, well, I'm scared to go in there. I don't know this, what's that, and know this. It was once I realized that the question mark was literally proof that God was in it. That's when I started going in, because I was like, well, wait a minute. That I look for the question mark, because if I
Yes.
see the question mark, I know I don't know everything. It
Yes.
humbles me. And I know, okay, I need something other than just me to get through this. So there it is. Don't be afraid of the question mark. The question mark is proof that something greater than you is in there with you. Shay, I want to thank you so much for today. Very powerful work. And let us know if there's any way we can support you down the road at any point. I love what you're doing, and I honor you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys, get out of here. I'll meet you, God willing, tomorrow morning right over there on the front porch, and we'll have another illuminated conversation. So as in closing, I always say to you, I love you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Get out and find your highest self, won't you, please? I know I'm sure going to try. Shay, great job. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Love and light. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How explicit do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.